My name is Sabine McNeil and I studied mathematics before I diagnosed software at CERN in Geneva. But later I revisited mathematics through the eyes of a mature programmer, and the result is a smart knowledge engine that I would like to propose to you. I am presenting myself as Renaissance woman because I feel that we are ushering in an age of a digital renaissance with our smart knowledge engine. It re-visualizes images. That includes paintings, for example the famous Mona Lisa in true color 3D, and we are combining the art of visualization with the science of measuring embedded in the intelligence of software. That's the digital aspect of this renaissance. But why renaissance? That was a period from the 14th to the 17th century, starting in Italy but spreading all over Europe, appealing for the rebirth of humanism from Greece. And at that time the Greek Protagoras had said that man is the measure of all things. Well, we've come up with a way of measuring digitally, and that's the Renaissance. So we want to bring enlightenment, which the Renaissance artists and scientists were keen about, through data. In the painting by Michelangelo about the creation of Adam, where God's finger touches Adam's finger, has been reproduced by a robotic finger meeting God's finger, and we are presenting both the original painting and the robotic arm in a new true color 3D. That's one of the generic software methods that our engine can handle, and that's what gives us new worldviews. One of the famous Renaissance scientists was Giordano Bruno. He was actually a Dominican monk who was burnt at the stake for his world views at the time. So I hope it won't happen to us, but he said that there is no time, there's only movement. And that's quite critical, because we are representing time series in a new way, and therefore can measure changes over time in a new way by looking at images in our particular way. The Renaissance man par excellence was Leonardo Da Vinci. He was the one who painted the Mona Lisa. And if we look at her with our smart knowledge engine, we can actually see how she's opening her eyes before us when her painting becomes a movable object and we tilt it such that her eyes change from being closed to being open. This is one of the whimsical effects that we discover thanks to True Color 3D. So, when we look at other famous artists and scientists, we cannot overlook Leonardo Fibonacci, who invented the Fibonacci numbers, which are all to do with measuring as well, and numerical proportions, the way that Leonardo da Vinci described them, or re-described them. And of course, going back to Greek times, Pythagoras had said that all is number. So here I've used the photo of his sculpture and re-visualized it in True Color 3D, just to illustrate that and how our engine can process every and all images, as long as they're digital, because it's all about number and understanding number in a new way. One of my heroes and models is Alexander von Humboldt, because I read in a lovely little book, An Intimate History of Humanity, that he said that the creation of new instruments of observation increases the intelligence. It's not just about becoming more and more curious and to innovate and investigate, but it adds insight and intelligence, in my view. Of course, we can't overlook Johann Wolfgang von Goethe when we look at the Renaissance in Europe. And I found his quote, "What we don't know is really what we need, and what we know is of no use for us whatever, if and when we practice life as a lifelong learning process." Now, who was the master who said that he is because he thinks? René Descartes, and he's the one who defined what dimensions are about, and they are the basis for measuring. Remember, geometry is about measuring Earth. When he then came up with the three axes, X, Y, Z, to measure, he laid the foundation for measuring anything. Nowadays, since 1960 to be precise, there is a system of international measuring units. They are based on meter, kilogram, and second. So second comes in as the fourth dimension. But Giordano Bruno said there is no time, there is only movement. When we look at the other international units, we find that they are quite a melange, quite a mixture of luminous intensity, i.e. light, thermodynamic temperature, i.e. heat, ampere for electric current, and mole for the amount of substance. And we come along with digital color brightness as a new measuring unit, as a new digital yardstick. That is quite an innovation and quite a challenge to translate into whatever an image represents. But physics translates everything into physical constants. Everything meaning physical phenomena that have been observed by physical instruments and or our human eyes. But now we've got imaging technologies and sensors as instruments of observation. So when we look at this little test image and we re-visualize it with more depth and detail and perspective in True Color 3D, we add visual value but also numeric and metrical value. That's why our True Color 3D at pixel accuracy delivers digital color brightness as a new measuring device. True Color 3D is here as a wheel in 2D, and out comes a 3D version, a movable object with our engine. And these images show not planets, but nanoparticles. They were taken from a video, where nanoparticles were shown in Brownian motion. This is the input image, and this the output in 3D. So we can now characterize these particles in terms of digital color brightness. We just need to agree how much corresponds to what characteristic. That is a new kind of a way of measuring. So just another example to compare changes over time, because these images were taken from a video. And finally, just to illustrate the independence of scale, this is Cassiopeia, a Greek goddess who gave the name to a constellation in the sky, because our engine takes images independent of scale, whether it's nanoparticles or planets. And this represents what Johannes Kepler said at the time of the Renaissance as well. The diversity of the phenomena of nature is so great, and the treasures hidden in the heavens so rich, precisely in order that the human mind shall never be lacking in fresh nourishment. This fresh nourishment is the digital renaissance that we are ushering in with smart data. So I've begun to build smartknowledge.space, where people will be able to try their own data and their own images. And the engine that it has already some 300 files uploaded on smartknowledgeportals.uk. We are not open for business yet, but this is work in progress that you are welcome to visit. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.